This is the captain. Senior.
UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy starship has been designed.
Transporter Chief, beam our listeners aboard. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek The Next Generation podcast on the United Federation of Podcasts Network. I am Diplomatic Standard Bearer Kevin Scharf. With me today are Counselor Amy Nelson and Head of Smart Houses, Joe Keegan. Hello.
Hello. How are we?
Smart houses?
Oh, you know, I like to have something different going on every week. So, yeah, I've been tinkering. You know, I like to potter about. You know, guys, I know you guys don't know what tombola is, but do you know what a potter is? Like to potter about?
No.
Just to
just like
yeah.
do little things.
Yeah. So
I would
like
say
Peter
putter,
around?
I would say putter.
Oh,
I
would say Peter.
Oh, who's Peter?
Okay.
That's the guy that
like
lives in...
Pitter patter.
Oh, well, I'm not sure if we're talking the right language here. Yeah, but I've been just messing about with like smart home stuff and getting things automated. So like the lights come on at a certain time when it's sunset and things like that.
Can I ask you, are you using a specific program like the Alexa or the Google?
Whoa, okay, good question. So I kind of not really liking Alexa at the moment. Just because she kind of listens to everything, you know, and then you get adverts for, I don't know, mention something like tiny condoms, and that's all you'll get in your Amazon feed. So,
listeners, you can thank us later.
Not that I would ever mention that. So I'm trying to get away from that and move to more HomeKit compatible stuff, which is Apple's infrastructure. Because I know Apple and Google and Amazon and a bunch of other companies are working on something called Matter, which is due to debut this year, which is going to make everything talk to everything else. So everybody,
finally.
Yes, I know. So I've been messing about with that. I've got a wee Raspberry Pi working, so I can access my home from my car and do stuff on the big screen. And just so things are automated. I quite like it.
It is pretty nice.
Yeah. It feels like being on the Enterprise. Like you walk into a room and the lights come on.
Oh,
yeah.
Lovely.
How are you, Amy?
I'm doing good. Really not much is going on over here. So.
And Kevin?
I'm doing good, actually. I auditioned for a play that's going up in the spring. So we're doing callbacks this weekend. So, you know, there's some nerves and fun stuff like that going on. But the show should be fun and silly and hilarious. So, knock wood that I get a part.
Yeah, you're going to break all your legs and get a part, aren't you?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. The show is called Disaster, the Musical, and it's very, very, very funny.
Excellent.
Does the theatre like bump into like a cosmic string?
Not a cosmic string, but there is an earthquake, a tidal wave, a volcano, and attacks by sharks, piranhas, and rats.
Not even a quantum filament.
No, not one of those.
Sounds rubbish.
And no one delivers a baby in the bar.
Okay.
But the part that I'm called back for, I do get to sing Don't Cry Out Loud while standing in a room that's filling with water and being attacked by sharks.
I thought it was piranhas.
No, it turns out it's
There's
sharks.
multiple.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know what would be worse. I think sharks might kill you quicker.
Yeah.
And so you get through less of the song. Yeah.
It's very, very funny. It's very funny.
Piranhas
So if you
might nibble you to death, and you might get to like the second chorus. Don't cry out loud, like that.
Yeah.
Just keep it inside.
That's exactly how the song is sung in the show. Exactly.
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh, how
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So if you like the music of the 1970s and 70s disaster films and absolute stupidity, you will like Disaster the Musical.
Well, if we come to see it, we want like VIP treatment because we've travelled millions of miles.
Okay. I will give you all of the fanciest tap waters I have.
Thanks. Thank you.
Let's check the communications array and see if we have any comments from our listeners.
Logs accessed.
About our interview, which was Galaxy Class episode 73 last week with Aaron Waltka, from Greg Molumby via Facebook Messenger. Greg says, "Hey all, I just wanted to compliment you all on your interview style for Galaxy Class. First it was Ralston, and today listening to this week's Galaxy Class, that was a tremendous interview. It really was a great behind the scenes of how the episode was made and his journey as a Trek fan. He is really knowledgeable about the franchise, and I do see a love behind Prodigy. Great job, and hopefully you have more interviews planned as the year goes on." Thank you, Greg. Yeah, it was just a delight to interview. It was just, we don't really have to do any work when we interview great people. They just talk and share their stories and anecdotes. So, yeah, it was great. And yes, we do have another interview coming up, so stay tuned.
Yes. Well, we have Justin Oser, who commented also on the same episode on our Federation Council Chambers and writes, "Amazing interview. I'm loving Prodigy and love all of the insights Aaron gives to the show. I also definitely imagined in my mind having the Doctor, Trip, Worf, and Data also on the bridge in Kobayashi." Yeah, I loved when he said those extra characters. I'm like, yep, in my mind, that's my headcanon. They are there in the episode.
Do you know what would be hilarious if there was like a lower deck character as well? But like for the briefest time, like they were scrolling through characters, and the lower deck character says, "Wow, I look different. Like I'm in like CGI."
That
as
could have
opposed
been
to
funny.
just yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, that is the communications we have for this week. For right now, why don't we move along right on to our Batleth battle?
Officers will report to my ready room immediately.
So, this is Batleth battle number 20. We are officially at 20 now, right? This is double X. And
All right.
so, if you've been with us for a while, you know how this works. 2 episodes go in, 1 comes out, we talk, we debate, we have a good time, and we all go out the best of friends, even if we disagree. Right?
Agreed.
Sure.
Sometimes it takes a cooling off period. No, I'm just kidding.
So,
We'll see how this one goes today.
yeah. I think Amy's got her work cut out for her this week.
I do.
Because we are talking about Troi-centric episode The Loss, which is season 4, episode 10, and Ethics, which is, I would consider it a Beverly Crusher focused episode, even though Worf is quite
Agreed.
important as well. It's a Worf Crusher episode. That is from season 5, episode 16. So, Amy, I know how much you love Ms. Troi, so why don't you give us the summary of The Loss?
All right. Well, in this amazing, well-crafted, well-written story,
Don't give away your vote quite yet.
this is the episode where the Enterprise is caught in a two-dimensional pull by these two-dimensional beings that are going towards this cosmic string. And when they encounter this two-dimensional phenomenon, Troi loses her empathic powers.
No.
I know.
Does she?
It's
Well, that must be horrific
So-
for her.
it was. Oh my gosh. And Marina is amazing.
That would be
in this
like us
episode.
being blind.
Well, she loses one of her
Yeah.
senses.
Wow.
Yes. And so we get to go through this journey, but the Enterprise D now being pulled towards this cosmic string, and it will be destroyed. So we have to figure out how to escape from this two-dimensional. What do you even call that? I mean, they're not sentient, but they're living. I don't know. So it's up to Data and Troi to figure out the situation. And all the math, all the counseling, all the feelings, all the science is wrapped up into this brilliant episode. And that's sort of the episode, because I want to save my comments for later, but I think everyone knows the loss. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know that recap wasn't my best, but...
Well, like you said, most of us know the loss.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm pretty sure we talked about the loss a lot on our Deanna Troi focused episode, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
because this really is a showcase for Marina and the counselor. So we always talk about these episodes in terms of importance to canon and guest stars. So why don't we start with guest stars? Anybody? Yes. Anybody major that we want to talk about here?
Yes. Okay. So this episode, we get to see Troi for the first time actually counseling an adult. So that is very nice to see that expansion, because she's always dealt with children that we saw on screen. Of course, we know behind the scenes, she's, of course, counseling everyone on board. But who she is counseling is Ensign Janet Brooks, who is played by Kim Braden. And Kim Braden, did you know, is the same actor who plays in Generation when Picard goes into the Nexus, his wife.
Oh.
So we have a great importance guest star there.
Amy, my Zoom just quit and then popped back up, so I missed pretty much all of what you said. Did you see me?
Oh, okay.
Did that disappear?
Kim Braden, who plays Ensign Janet Brooks, who's getting counseled, she also plays Picard's wife in the Nexus in Generations.
No.
Yeah, I know.
I can totally see that now. See it.
Right?
But she's all Victorian and her hair's all
Yeah.
coiffed and up and she's wearing a big floaty dress.
And she's a little older, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not by much. Wow, that's cool.
That is very cool.
So, that very good guest star.
But is that an importance to canon? Because it's just the actor playing multiple characters.
We're not there. We're talking guest stars.
Okay.
We also get Whoopi Goldberg coming back as Guinan. Now, can I talk about that? And I think when we see shows sort of laugh at themselves, it gives you a new appreciation. And you're like, yes, they understand what's going on here. And Star Trek does it brilliantly in this, because when Guinan came in season 3, so here we are in season 4, there was a lot of...
season 2.
Oh, season 2. Thank you. Yeah, she came in with Pulaski.
She did.
But what I love is that there was so many criticisms that, Guinan is a better counselor than Troi. Excuse me, whatever. So Star Trek flips it and uses that criticism in this episode, because Guinan goes up to Troi and was like, so is the counseling position open? I think I'd like to do it, because people say that I can listen and everyone talks to their bartender. I just felt like that was so good. It's rare that Star Trek will laugh at itself, and they do so here, and it's just perfect. Did you guys like that about Guinan?
I did like Guinan
wanting to be counselor?
Yeah, to me it was more of like a reverse psychology kind of thing. She was attempting to shake her out of her. I don't think Troi fell for it, but
of course not.
But it might have given her something to think about.
There's a couple of times Guinan's done that now. That kind of psychology on people to to make a point where the point's kind of obvious to the viewer, but it's not obvious to the character she's trying to give it to. So yeah, I like it.
And I also like that in that discussion, we actually learn more of what Troi does as a profession. Because I think sometimes, especially, this is early 90s, 1990, people didn't really know about these mental health professionals. So I think it was a good step, sort of just introducing what is a counselor and what is her role.
Right.
And we're finally getting that in, fourth season, and she's been with us since season 1, and we're finally now getting to know what she does.
See, the thing about Troi being a therapist, counsellor on the Enterprise, and we get the reason in Star Trek why she's there, because long missions, and it has an effect on the crew, so it's useful for her to be there. Is there an American reason why she's there? In terms of, like, it appears that everybody in America has a therapist. if you go by TV and movies. But, like, if you go with, like, if you watch stuff from other countries, it appears that nobody has a therapist. It seems like a very American thing. I think
therapy was very trendy in the 80s. And, I think Star Trek just sort of jumped on that bandwagon a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not still not trendy, but like Amy, I don't know, do you have a therapist?
I don't, but I actually have a lot of students who have therapists.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Like a lot of students.
So it seems to be, I don't know if we want to keep this in, but it seems to be an American thing. I don't want to be insensitive, but it seems very...
Mm-hmm. No, I get what you're saying.
Hear it about America.
Mm-hmm. I sort of agree. Yeah, I don't hear much about... I've never been to a therapist.
No.
And I can't imagine... What would a Scottish therapy session be like, Joe? Would there be a lot of ranting?
This is therapy for me, doing my podcast with you guys drinking wine. So... But, like, I don't think I need therapy for anything. I think I've got enough mental resilience, self-mental resilience to be able to work things through myself, and I've got enough support around me to help me if I ever needed it. And there will have been times where I've needed it, and people have just been there.
Yeah.
But I don't ever see myself being comfortable going to speak to somebody about my feelings, like some random stranger.
Well, Troi did not feel comfortable going to anyone to speak about her feelings. And that's another reason why I love this episode, is because her defenses are like, they're at maximum. Like the first time that Riker goes to her, and she is so defensive and like, I've got this, I'm fine, I'm throwing myself into my work. And I just, for some reason, her portrayal of that is exactly what I would have done. Like, it's so relatable to me how she just pushes everyone away and tries to do her best. And then we get the breakdown slowly. She starts snapping at Beverly, snapping at Riker. Ooh, walking out on Picard. That took some balls, man. At that conference room, and like she just walks out and like, Troi, and poof, she's gone. I was like, ooh, I mean, you can just see going through these phases and how brilliant she is, like this avoidance and denial. To me, it was very, very relatable. And I just think she did a brilliant job with that. But can we talk about the math? Because we really need to talk about the math.
Okay.
Can we come to that in a minute? Because I want to talk about the way Troi behaves in the episode.
Okay.
I entirely believe her behaviour. And it's something that we can't imagine because we don't have that telepathic, empathic sense that she has. It'd be like, they say in the episode, it'd be like one of us losing the ability to see. Right? For a long while, we'd be in grief for a long while, and we would be terrified about how we interact with the world going forward, because your sight's your main thing. And to an extent, her empathic abilities are her main thing. It's her main sense that is by far the most outward-looking sense that she has. So yeah, I totally buy the way she reacts, and I think it's interesting coming from a human perspective, try to think about how she's reacting. That it's difficult to imagine what it would be like to live without that empathic ability if you've just grown up with it.
Yeah, and when she's talking to Riker, like her explanation of, how she's like, all I see are surfaces without depth. Like, I look and it's like you're a projection. You're like a hologram on the holodeck, And so sort of through that, we're trying to understand. But yeah, to look at something and not have that context.
Yeah. It's like going colourblind, maybe. Do you mean you lack all the colour? Or having to live with one eye instead of two. You lose all that depth you get from having two eyes in stereo vision.
It does make me believe, though, that she relies more on... I don't know how this is going to sound, but like she relies on her senses more than her training, right? And it makes her a great counselor because she can be empathic, because she does know how you're feeling and what you're feeling. But most counselors don't have that ability. So it feels not like it's a cheat, but almost like it's... she's using her abilities to improve her counseling, right? But she's not falling back on the training that I would assume every Starfleet counselor would have. Does that make sense?
Well, and to your point, Riker calls her out on it. He's like, aha, you've always had this bit of air of, about you, that you think you're better, that you know what someone is feeling. And so that puts you sort of a leg up, a position of power. Right. And I love that Riker calls her out on that. And this episode, in part, that conversation really builds their friendship and their relationship because of that. Because it's really Riker's the only one.
Oh, yeah. Nobody else could call her out on that.
Yeah.
I
Beverly tries to, but man, she snaps at Beverly.
I don't think it's something we can call her out on. If it was anybody and they had this built-in extra sense and they used that to be better at their job, then fair play, that's just the way it's going to be. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So I assume that Troi uses her training and she's a good counsellor. If she was just a good empath, then she wouldn't necessarily be a good counsellor. She's a good counsellor because she's been trained. Loaxana wouldn't necessarily be a good counsellor in Enterprise.
True.
She's a full telepath. But I think Deanna has used her Starfleet training and her psychology training and her empathic ability to become the best counsellor that she can be. I don't think we should necessarily dismiss her because she's got an extra ability that we don't have. I think that's a bit unfair.
Well, and yeah, Picard sort of points that out, as does Guinan. And it's like, Picard's like, not everyone, well, no one has a ship's counselor with your abilities. I'm lucky to have that, and I get the benefit of that, and I recognize that that is a benefit. That is an advantage. But that's not to say that that's a requirement. Yeah. Yeah. To use your training, because I need you here. Yeah.
Although, if I'd lost a main sense, I wouldn't be fit to do my job. I would need time off to acclimatized to
process.
being this new person.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. It's like they don't ever really give her time.
No.
There's been
a
lot of instances.
She didn't want it, though, either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't.
Because she didn't want people kind of pussyfooting about her. Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah.
But she didn't want to take any time off from her job, either.
She's trying to be stoic, wasn't she? And I'm just going with it. But she was doing what, what's her face did? Janet did. Just trying to get on with the job without addressing how you're feeling about what has just happened to you. She's doing that exact thing that Janet did at the beginning of the episode.
Exactly. That's
I've
why.
just realised that.
Let's look. But yeah, let's look at the story and the writing of the story, because there are so many parallels. We have, right, Ensign Janet Brooks, who's going through the loss of her husband and, going through denial and I'm feeling fine, I'm doing my work. And then we get the same thing with Troi's story. She loses her senses. I'm doing fine. I'm going to continue. Stop, So we get that parallel story in addition to the parallel story of the math and the science going through. So we're getting like this triple parallel story written in this episode. And that's pretty significant.
Yeah, it is very well written.
I agree.
Because we're getting, now can we talk about the math?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go for
the math.
your two-dimensional math.
Yes.
This is going to be easy.
So in math, right, there are different dimensions, and dimension 0 is nothing. 1, just a point. 2 dimensions is a line. 3 dimensions is a flat object, square, rectangle.
A point would be 0-dimensional. Because it doesn't have a single point in space, doesn't have any length, breadth, or height.
Correct.
Yeah, it doesn't have any.
Yes.
So
a line is length.
A line is 1-dimensional.
Yes, 1 dimension.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes. You knew what I was saying. I get sometimes a
then.
little excited. And then 3 dimensions is your length, width, and height. And they're talking about that where in the conference room, where it's like, okay, we're in this 2 dimension, there's length and width, but no height. And they say it's virtually flat, which I absolutely loved the word virtually, because obviously if there is something there, then there will be height, but we're saying it's virtually flat. So good on the math being specific there. But so we have these dimensions, and theoretically, there are dimensions above the 3rd dimension, 4th, 5th, and so on. But when we look at a 3-dimensional object, obviously it has length, width, and height, and then we make it go flat, drop it down a dimension, right? We're taking away one of its senses, if you will, which is what's happening to Troi. And I just love that parallel story. And again, the verbiage, like what I was saying with Troi is saying, all I see are surfaces without depth. That reinforces what the Enterprise D is experiencing with this phenomenon of these creatures or whatever they are. They don't ever really have a name.
No, it's just a phenomenon that they encounter. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that connection with the math and the counseling.
Yeah, the 2-dimensional beings are reflected in the 2-dimensional crew in the way that Troi sees them.
And then talking about like instinct. You know, and how they're just a moth to a flame, or like when a horse runs into a burning barn. Like your instinct sometime, and Guinan points this out, like you can have an instinct and it's not going to be right all the time because it's instinctual.
Yeah, why did the horse run into the burning barn?
Sort of like moth to the flame.
Because it was Canadian and it's like minus 30 outside.
Yeah.
Trying to stay warm.
Yeah. That's really interesting. There was Amy, you'll maybe have seen the video on multiple dimensions.
I've seen Flatland.
Oh, yeah. Then it's just line drawings that kind of look like playing cards. And there's one point where, like, if a 3-dimensional human becomes 2-dimensional or something, then you would fall apart because your body would be split from your mouth to your bumhole, because your body would just fall apart because it's a 2-dimensional cross section.
Symmetrical.
Yeah, through the body, would make your body just fall apart. Yeah, I love that bit. I'll have to put a link to that video in the comments, because it kind of explains multiple dimensions in quite a nice, easy to understand way.
And talking about that, in this episode is my absolute all-time favorite graphic, and that's Data's illustration of seeing, because they see Worf's like, oh, there's something there. Oh, it's gone. Oh, there's something there. It's gone. Because as the 2-dimension is, rotating, right, we can only see it if we're looking at its surface and not its. And when we see that graphic go through and we're seeing all the fuzz and then it goes flat and then it disappears. Oh my gosh. It literally is my favorite graphic in all of Star Trek.
See, to come back to about what you said, still talking about the maths, about Data saying it was virtually flat. If it was truly 2-dimensional, wouldn't it be actually flat and have zero thickness?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
See, so they're accurate.
Where have they been accurate? What does virtue?
Yes,
What does virtually flat mean? I think that's my question.
So you're good with significant figures in science, right? Yeah. Going out to, right? So if I'm measuring something and it's meters by meters or meters square, so then when I measure its height, it's so small compared to a meter that it's virtually. So it's insignificant. Okay,
but if it was a true 2-dimensional object, then it would have absolutely zero to...
Right. Yeah. That's why they're saying it's virtually flat, because it does exist.
But it would...
Because there is really... Universe. Is there... Okay, math and physics people here, answer me this question. Can a 2-dimensional plane intersect 3-dimensional space?
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you see it, it's a line.
A line. That's right. Okay.
No. It's a square.
Square. Well, yeah, depending on your perspective. That's what that graphic shows. Yeah, okay. That's what I love.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this then. So, a 0-dimensional object, from whatever perspective, no matter which way you rotate it or which way you view it from, is going to look like a point. Yeah?
If it has 0 dimensions,
single point in space.
How can you look at something that has 0 dimensions?
Yeah, it's sort of theory.
Yeah, it's just a point in space. Yes. It's just a dot, but it's like infinitely small.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah. I understand.
Okay, so a 1-dimensional object has length. So it's a line in space. Right. It has 0 height.
But when the point looks at it, it only sees another point. Because it can't see the length.
Yes.
It can only see the point.
So, but
the line can see the point.
The line can see the...
And see that it has no length.
The line can see the point if it's... If you're the observer...
So you can go down a dimension, but you can't see up a dimension.
Yes, okay. So, 3-dimensional... Let's take that up, both of them up. Okay. You got 3-dimensional people on the ship and your 2-dimensional object. If that's a true 2-dimensional object, then...
They still only see a point. But the point looks at
as a plane.
As a plane and still sees a point.
So, okay, answer me this question then, science people. The only way that the Enterprise could have gotten caught up in this 2-dimensional migration is if they were in the exact same scope or angle as the two-dimensional plane was traveling.
I agree with that, yes.
So it was
because it was the harmonics of something of the ship that got caught.
It was an infinitely unlucky fluke that the Enterprise just happened to be in the right plane in the same plane as the two-dimensional beings.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like...
Shit happens out in space.
It wasn't like... Yeah, the Enterprise... Imagine it being flat. No. Imagine
because if they had come in from a different angle, they would have gone right through it. Because it wasn't there.
Yep.
They just happened to intersect at the right, and that intersect angle didn't necessarily. It wasn't like the two-dimensional object being flat and the Enterprise being flat up and down. It wasn't that kind of intersection.
It would be like you're saying. Yeah. It took a cross section of the D. Yeah. It was pulling the cross section.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you should move on from the science.
We should move on.
I know. Okay, but I'm just going to say one more thing.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But Troi saves the D yet again. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, I wasn't quite done with the loss. We didn't really talk about importance to canon. Okay. Are there is there anything in this episode that is quite important to the canon of this episode, of the series?
Not in the slightest.
Yes.
But Amy's got something.
Yes. So we learned that Beta Zed's empathic abilities lie within the cerebellum and cerebral cortex. So that's good to know. And Breen and Ferengi can't be sensed. So we're told that again.
This is the first time they'd ever mentioned the breed, actually. It was in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is that really important?
And
no.
Hey,
you're grasping at straws, Amy.
I know I am. But did you know, and how interesting, and I think we need to cover this on a what if, so don't answer the question because we will cover it on a what if. But it was Michael Piller that wanted to not give Troi back her empathic senses.
No.
Keep them gone.
Don't like that idea.
So we can discuss that in a what if. But I found that interesting. That would have been interesting to Star Trek canon. I know I'm grasping at straws.
The other continuity thing that's come up is, so in Disaster, when Deanna is the captain of the ship, she mentions cosmic strings, and the only way she knows about cosmic strings is because of what happened in the loss.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Joe looks perplexed.
Yeah, no, it does make sense, but like all the straws have been grasped now. So.
No, okay. One other important to canon. We get, because it's the Troi and Riker relationship. So we get the word Imzadi again.
Oh,
since
please.
The first season.
Imzadi. Keep your Imzadi to yourself.
And I love it when Riker leans in for a kiss when they're in 10 forward at the end. And she's like, I don't think so. But it's that continuation of their relationship and how it ebbs and flows. It's on right here. Great support. That is very important to Star Trek canon.
It is. Sure.
I kind of feel for Riker at the beginning when he goes to see her as a friend to support her because she's now blind. And she's just really horrible. But it's totally excusable because...
And he's like, yep, I understand. There's no malice. He doesn't get offended. He doesn't get hurt, and he's like, I'm going to come back and check on you. She's like, you don't have to do that. And he's like, I will be back to check on you. Like, that's what strong, good relationships do.
Yeah. I think Amy, Kevin, I don't know you as well as I know Amy.
Okay.
But I think there's potential there. Let's say that. I think if something really bad happened, like I would be there. Do you know? I would. Yeah, I think I would behave in the same way. Well, I hope I'd behave in the same way.
Right.
Well,
And I
you
wouldn't
guys,
do what... Oh, sorry, on you go.
you guys know that I went through a terrible winter last year, and you guys were here for me, so I know that you're that kind of person, Joe.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. Is that your name, Kevin?
Okay, we really could talk about the loss the whole
Yes, we
time,
do need to
and I
move
know
on
that's
to
not-
ethics.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, listeners, for indulging and letting me go on and on. So what's ethics?
Joe, do you want to talk about ethics?
I'm kind of tired after that. But yeah, let's talk about ethics. So much happens in this episode. You will not believe it.
There's
Like,
so much
literally,
lying on tables.
See if this doesn't win the final of finals for the Batleth battles. I will be enraged. So, Worf and Geordie are in the kind of storage room, kind of scanning stuff, and then you see some chemicals leak out one of the big blue storage barrels, I suppose they are. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is one of them kind of melts and another one kind of falls, and it's full of really, really, really heavy stuff and lands on Worf. And Worf...
And bounces off.
No, it doesn't. Worf is grievously injured, Amy Nelson. And
it bounces. And you know this is the one thing that I can't stand about this episode, and I've talked about it since Earl Grey. So continue.
Wow. We gave you like literally an hour to talk about the loss.
I'm sorry.
And you're just dismissing ethics.
No,
we're known on Galaxy Class for being fair when it comes to discussing episodes. So we don't need your it bounces. Yeah. Worf is grievously injured and falls to the floor unconscious. Everybody gathers round him. He gets to sick bay, and like his vertebrae, 7 of his vertebrae have been shattered, and he's paralysed from the neck down. And it's no, this is the end of Worf. We know it's the end of Worf. Worf wants Riker to help him commit suicide in some kind of Klingon ritual, which entails Riker giving Worf a sacred sword, knife, dagger, and Worf stabbing himself in one or both of his hearts, or his one 8-chambered heart, and then giving the knife, dagger, sword blade back to Riker for Riker to wipe on his own sleeve. Gruesome stuff. Worf doesn't want to see Alexander because he's ashamed of being paralysed. Dr. Crusher is doing his best to help Worf and doesn't want him to go through with a suicide ritual because, he's perfectly healthy apart from being paralysed from the neck down. They get this magician wizard doctor in from Starfleet who's like a specialist in kind of neural injuries, and she's a bit of a maverick. She wants to kind of fix him, wants to put these fancy probes on his legs to make him walk again. But what happens is there's an explosion on a planet or a spaceship somewhere else, and they have to run to the rescue, and they have to get everybody on the ship to become doctors and go and heal everybody. And while this fancy doctor woman from Starfleet is fixing people, she intentionally gives the wrong therapy because she wants to try out her wee theory and kills this guy. But her excuse is, well, I've learned lots about my research from doing that. Dr. Crusher's very angry that she's killed a patient. And then Worf is still paralysed, and this fancy doctor woman wizard has a therapy where she can use some genotronics to 3D print in a fish tank a new spine for Worf. And Dr. Crusher's like, no, you're not doing that. You are a crazy wizard woman, and I'm not letting you do that. And she has a chat to Picard, and Picard says, well, Worf's going to commit suicide, so what's the least worst of these two evils? Worf committing suicide, or 3D printing a fancy wizard spine for Worf? And if he dies, that's fine, because he was going to die anyway. And then Riker says, no, I'm not going to let you commit suicide because I've been reading a Klingon book and it says that it has to be a family member and the only family member available is Alexander. And Worf's like, oh, nonsense. Alexander is far too young and I can't do that. And Riker's like, nah, you're just scared. You don't want to have to give your dagger blade sword knife to Alexander to then stab yourself in the heart to have it wiped, the blood wiped on Alexander's sleeve. And then Worf changes his mind and decides to go ahead with the therapy. And what happens? Worf dies at the end. Worf dies. And then Dr. Crusher leaves and tells Troi. Troi's in this episode. She's amazing. She counsels like a superstar. She counsels Alexander and Riker. Crusher, our doctor, says, I'm sorry, we couldn't save your dad. He's dead. But then she goes back into the room and Worf has like got a second brain that's taken over all his neurofunctions and he's magically back alive. He was saved by Maverick Wizard Doctor Woman. Whoa. Was that not the best episode ever? Worf
is so good. And like Beverly, that last closing, like she shines.
Savage.
Like,
she's savage.
Yeah.
Isn't she? Mm-hmm. How do you behave though in that circumstance? Your patient has been saved through kind of dodgy means.
As I watched that episode this morning, I thought if they just hadn't happened to be, if Alexander hadn't insisted on seeing his dead father, none of them would have been in the room and nobody would have noticed that he was breathing again. And he would have died anyway. But they just happened to be there. Although I would assume that there are diagnostic systems in the...
Okay, there's beeps.
The biobed maybe would have beeped, but...
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, it's like, it was just a fluke that they happened to be there when he came back to life.
So what you're saying, Kevin, is that Alexander saved his dad?
Alexander saved his dad because he wanted to see his father's dead body.
Mm-hmm.
What more can you want from an episode? I don't know.
So, I'm going to come out and say that I like this episode, but it is not without its flaws. It's got some issues. But I do like it. For me, it does harken back a little bit to a classic Star Trek episode where we've got a moral dilemma and we've got two sides and our heroes fall on one side and the opposing side gets to have their say too. And in this case, they had to work together in order to get the outcome they wanted, which was Worf alive and walking. And I guess physiotherapy works much faster in the 24th century because I'm sure Worf was kicking some butt by the next episode. Just a couple of days with Alexander on a treadmill and you're fine.
Yeah.
So let's talk about guest stars. Who do we got in this episode?
We have the magic wizard, Dr. Woman.
Mm-hmm. Caroline Kava.
Yeah, sorry, I'm scrolling on Memory Alpha.
This was her only role in Star Trek, but she has worked with a lot of Star Trek alum.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Do you know her name? Toby Russell. Toby. Is Toby short for something?
Yeah, just Dr. Toby Russell.
I know, but it's like a boy's name over here.
Yeah, I would have thought it was a boy's name too, but I would have said the same thing about Michael.
Yeah.
Although, Ewan always tells me this, Michael thingamajig from Little House in the Prairie, the mum?
The Waltons. It was the Waltons. Michael Learned. Michael Learned was on the Waltons.
Yeah.
And Glenn Close, I would have always thought that was a man's name too, but...
Oh, yeah,
so,
Glenn.
Or Gene,
but we also get Nurse Ogawa.
Gene Hackman is the boy's name.
We do get
Nurse Ogawa and Brian Bonsall as Alexander Rushenko.
Alexander.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this is pretty much a bottle show. We don't leave the ship. We don't see anything outside the ship. We're told there's a disaster, and all we see is the dozens of extras they've paid to lie on cots in the sickbay set. So I'm sure this was a cost-effective episode, too, for them to make.
So this was, I think, the first time that we see a lot more skin on a Klingon. When we see his back and the
outer spine.
Ridges go down. Yeah. Interestingly enough, that was Michael Dorn's photo double who was laying there on the bed.
Cool.
I don't know why he wouldn't have done it, but it wasn't him.
Oh, was that Rusty McLennan?
It was.
Al Foster.
Oh.
It also seems to me, I want to talk about Worf for a minute. That Worf's Klingonness is a little bit wishy-washy in this episode. He wants to commit the ritual suicide because he's not a full Klingon anymore. But he wants to skirt the rules by not having his son do it. So I'm guessing that development stems from the fact that he was raised by humans, right? Like a full-blooded Klingon born on the Klingon homeworld would have had no trouble having his, at this point, 3-year-old son commit ritual suicide.
I mean, and it's probably, again, which this episode brings up, Picard very well. It's like, we're putting, and I'm saying me as an I'm putting like, is that really what's best for a family? I feel like Worf is so selfish because he wants to follow Klingon tradition that he's going to completely disregard his feelings for Alexander. And I'm like, as a parent, and I know I'm talking to all of us, we are not parents, but could you imagine doing that? I can't. And so you're right. He's sort of picking and choosing, but I feel like he's being so selfish because he doesn't want to deal with his son, Alexander. Right. He's been so used to just pushing him off. He's not been around. He hasn't been a full-time father. And yeah, I agree with you, Kevin. Absolutely.
I think it's really weird how we try and judge Klingonness in the Klingon culture through kind of the oculus of being human. I mean, obviously we wouldn't do it as parents because we have this innate maternal or paternal instinct when it comes to protecting our children from harm, from kind of seeing horrible things. But Klingons, they're a different species. They evolved on a different planet. We see them as being this kind of monolithic aggressor species. So I don't think it's right to judge them in the same way that we would judge ourselves. I think it would be perfectly natural for a Klingon to do. Yeah. Here, Dad, stab yourself in the heart and then I'll wipe the blade on my arm. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, think about half of life. When you're raised in that culture, then it becomes acceptable because you were raised and you're taught all the good things about it. And
which is why we have trouble accepting it because it's completely dissimilar to the way we were raised. Yeah. It's like it's the idea of having, as humans, having the right to die, which I know is there's a debates going on in countries around the world about if you are really sick, should you be able to take your own life or have some kind of medical information and intervention to take your own life? I think yes, because I don't want to see anybody suffer and die at all. So I think there should be, like, Switzerland has Dignitas where you can go and administered kind of life-ending drugs to yourself. But I think that challenges the way I was brought up. Do you know what I mean? And everything I've been taught. Right. So I think we have to adapt and change to new ways of thinking.
You know, one thing that I found interesting was sort of Picard's perspective in this episode, because he's really taking, I think, sort of the high ground in respecting Worf's culture. And I think he does that so quickly because of his past experience. Remember in The Enemy, where Picard was asking Worf to share his blood with the Romulan. and that struggle that we had there. And Picard was this close to making it be in order, but he's like, I don't want to have it be in order. And Worf holds true. Like, he's like, nope, there's not getting my blood. So then when we come to this episode, Picard is he has a better understanding of Worf. And I think he's trying to, massage Riker and is saying, if Worf asked you, then that means he thinks that you will do it. And it's not easy for him to ask you. I mean, it's a big decision. But I'd like that transition that we get to see with Picard through those 2 episodes.
Yeah, Picard's already deeply involved in Klingon politics and culture because he's been Chadich before. Mm-hmm. He's the main non-Klingon that Klingons go to for help when they need a non-Klingon for Klingon things. Kevin, what were you going to say? Sorry,
I was going to say it's interesting then that Worf went to Riker and not Picard for this request.
Right.
We know how much Worf respects Picard, but I guess Worf sees Riker more as like a brother in arms.
Yeah, a fellow warrior.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But Picard's almost got the father-like figure in the diplomat. So you go to the warrior as opposed to the diplomat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see that.
So, what about importance to canon with ethics?
Oh, so much.
So much.
Well, about the Klingon anatomy,
Klingons
right?
have like
redundant and
redundancies,
duplicate
2 penises,
organs,
2 brains, 8-chambered heart, double everything, literally double everything.
And it's so interesting, the conversation between, Crazy Doctor and Crusher, where Crazy Doctor, I'll call her by her real name, Dr. Russell, Toby Russell.
Who said Crazy Doctor?
What?
Wizard?
Oh,
magical wizard?
Your tone.
Magical
wizard.
Doctor woman? Sorry. Magical wizard Doctor woman? Is that not her name?
That's her name, yes. But like when she was like, what are all these redundancies? They don't need that. That's such a waste. And then it's Crusher who's like, well, but look at the advantages to having it, So I sort of like that we're getting both perspectives. Like, oh, you've got 2 hearts, then now you've got double the chance of getting heart failure. So there's the 2 perspectives that I thought was represented well.
I like the Klingon, I like that idea. We get more of an idea about what Klingons. Star Trek 6, we saw that they had purple blood. That amazing CGI of the purple blood floating about in the antigrav.
Yep.
And now we see more about how they're made up, which kind of is an interesting. It's not related in any way, but it's interesting that we learn more about. What's the word? I totally lost the word. Troi what's Troi's species?
Betazoid.
Betazoid. Oh, seriously. We learn more a lot about Betazoid physiology in The Loss, and we learn all about Klingon physiology and ethics.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Yeah. Importance to canon, though, I don't think it is. It just really isn't. It's like Kevin said, it's a standalone episode.
And Worf's fine by next week.
Yeah.
Well, of course, but
it's Star Trek. Do you know what I mean? If they can, cure a severed head by the 24th century, then I don't really want to be there. I am rewatching Game of Thrones from the beginning, and that happens a lot.
Yes.
And it's incurable at that point.
Right.
We go with no.
One thing I learned from this episode is never play cards with Geordi.
Okay, can we talk about that? Because I think, did I message you? I was messaging someone. I'm like, I put it out on Twitter. So if Geordi can see the cards and then he says, well, I don't look until the hand is over. So he has some kind of function that can switch what type of perspective he's viewing, whether it's infrared or I don't know all the things that he sees, but so he must have control. That's what I got from that.
Guess
Or
so.
maybe he keeps it in his peripheral vision, but he can't really.
There's no way if you're playing cards around a table that you can't not see it unless you have some kind of control. And then he's like sort of blaming Worf. Well, you should bring cards that aren't susceptible to infrared light. I don't know what that means, Joe. What does that mean?
But Geordie's got like X-ray vision, and he can see through everything, so he can see the cards.
But infrared.
This is not something we ever knew about Geordie before this, though, is it? That he can see through
Yeah,
walls?
no, and it seems weird.
Or cards in this case?
I suppose if his visor, we spoke about this last week, didn't we? Briefly. If his visor can pick up all the members of the electromagnetic spectrum equally, then it's just going to be a flood of information. So the visor has to...
Maybe like a filter.
It's going to filter things out that he doesn't necessarily need to see, like the potential gamma rays that are coming through the ship. He doesn't need to see those because the external sensors, and I suppose the shields would, and the hull of the ship would take care of that mostly. There's going to be lots of things that he doesn't have to see, so his visor will have to be tuned. Does he have any control of what his visor does? I'd imagine he'd have to.
Apparently he does.
But
we only have his word on it.
The inputs on his temples seem to be inputs, not outputs, so he can control the visor.
Right. Yeah.
This sounds like a good topic for
thing.
one of our Tombola episodes. How does Geordie's visor work?
Do you know what? We spoke about it last week.
We spoke about it.
No, because somebody mentioned that it was Greg in a comment.
I think it was, yeah.
We should talk about like how Geordie's visor works or random technology. And then I went on a bit of a rant. I've already thought about it.
Yeah.
So any other important...
So, you know, a little bit of trivia. We see Geordie with a beard, and they were testing it out, and it only happened once.
He had a beard in this episode?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Because there was an episode where he had a beard, and Data commented on it.
No, that was Data with a beard.
Oh, this is the Mandela effect. Kevin and I both remember Geordie with a beard, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, in the teaser. It says, I'm reading from my Star Trek The Next Generation companion, and it says, LaForge is seen briefly in the teaser sporting a beard, a test that the producers allowed LeVar Burton to try once.
Interesting.
I'm just thinking. I'm sure
Listeners, both of them are typing frantically to prove me wrong.
That Geordie had a beard in another episode as well.
I'm just going to Google Geordie's beard.
That's what I did.
Okay.
And it sent me to Memory Alpha.
So, there's a Reddit thread called So, Geordie's Beard. Hold on. I'm halfway through season 5. There's a comment from Reddit. I'm halfway through season 5 of TNG, and he just shows up in Outcast with a full beard for some reason. Nobody mentions it. There's no story element to it. He's just there in the shuttle bay, all bearded out.
And the reason why he had the beard was that LeVar Burton wanted to have a beard for his wedding, and they didn't want him to have it for the whole season. So that was when he started growing it for his wedding.
Oh,
Rick,
that's lovely.
Rick Berman vetoed his request at the beginning of the season for Geordie to have a beard.
Why did
That is directly from LeVar Burton on Twitter. From a tweet on August 31st, 2019.
2 questions. Why did LeVar want a beard for his wedding? It doesn't really matter. You know, it's your wedding, so you can have whatever you want.
Preference.
Yeah. But why specifically a beard? And why was Jordan not allowed a beard?
I don't know.
Because Riker was the only one allowed.
The scene with Data talking to Geordi about his beard is from Fistful of Datas.
Yes, it is.
So that means that Ethics is not the only episode where Geordi has a beard.
Well, we need to talk to Dr. Larry Nemechek. I'm not going to bring it up.
He also had a beard in The Outcast.
Well, yeah, that's what that Reddit was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just mention really quickly a little bit of trivia? And it's from the novel A Time for War, A Time for Peace. And I've just read this on Memory Alpha. The Enterprise E is being inspected by a Starfleet. And Dr. Russell's on board doing an inspection of sickbay. And Dr. Russell is the magical wizard Doctor Woman. Mm-hmm. And she argues again with Dr. Crusher about Genetronics, and Crusher's like, no, your magic only worked because he was Klingon and he survived the procedure. And she's the Dr. Wizard Woman magical person is like, no, I can't believe you're still upset about that. So yeah, she's got a name apparently, Dr. Russell. There you go.
Toby. Her name's Toby.
Russell. Dr. Toby Russell. I'll have to change it from Magical Wizard Doctor Woman.
Well, shall we move on to the listener comments from the poll that was posted on Facebook?
Yeah.
There were quite a few.
Absolutely.
Do we even have it up?
Thank you, everyone, for participating and sharing your comments and reasons. This is fun.
So, Amy, do you want to start at the top of the list and we'll read them out?
Absolutely. All right. Christian Alonso writes, as much as I love Troi, and I do know that he does love Troi, I'm giving my vote to Ethics. This is such a strong Crusher episode.
And that got some likes and some shocked faces and some love. Kimberly Lawler says, hard choice. As much as I love Ethics as a Beverly episode, I have to go with The Loss. It was one of my absolute favourites growing up because I loved Riker and Troy's relationship. Guinan and Troi working with Data. I had it taped from TV and watched the video a lot. Closed eye smiley face.
Brian Narowski also chose The Loss. He said because of this quote, "How do you people live like this?"
I love that line. Brian, excellent point. Vera Bible writes, difficult choice as these are 2 strong episodes. My vote will go to Ethics as it's one of the best Crusher episodes. Her speech to Dr. Russell at the end is fantastic. The Worf portion of the plot is also extremely well done. Great Riker and Troi moments.
Is Data was not in this episode at all, was he? We didn't see Data at all in this episode.
No.
That's one of very few episodes that Data doesn't appear in.
Christos Genaris says, going with Ethics, my Beverly bias aside, Ethics is the heart of Star Trek. It's about having a conscience.
I think conscience.
It's about having a conscience and doing what is right. It teaches that principles are important. And Gates McFadden delivers one of the best monologues in Trek.
Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi says, I know it's not necessarily about canon, but Ethics does establish the Klingon redundancies and Troy's place as Alexander's guardian if Worf dies. Also a very good Beverly Crusher episode, and she doesn't get many of those, so my vote is for Ethics.
Yes, it does set up that Troi Alexander Worf. I like that. Good point, Chrissy. Mahendran says ethics.
Case.
And I sort of figured that Mahendran is studying to be a doctor, so.
Casey Pettitt also says ethics. One of my classes in college used the episode as an example even. And what could be better than watching Star Trek and getting college credit?
Awesome.
Chris Trabuzio. He said this may hurt Amy Nelson's feelings, but another vote for ethics from him.
And I responded with an angry emoji.
Are you still friends?
I love you as an angry emoji when it's not expected.
Right. Christos writes, a good read, folks. This episode, as well as many others, are covered in the book, The Ethics of Star Trek, written by Judith Barad, PhD, with Ed Robertson.
Oh.
Well, thank you, Christos, for giving us the extended book reference.
We should have them on as guests. Paul Wright Jr. says, ethics. Sorry, Amy Nelson.
And I replied with an angry emoji.
Yes, and then
Some people are getting on my angry list, people.
and then you told the group that you have a lot of convincing to do here.
Yeah, that was a fun little back and forth. Brandon votes for ethics. And we have Heidi Stuck writes, I thought about this too much, LOL. While I know I like The Loss better than ethics, I think ethics is the better episode. If you're thinking about acting, writing, premise, thought-provoking, etc. I am someone that appreciates a fine film for what it is, but love a good fun action flick more. That is sort of how I feel in this situation with these two episodes. Well, Heidi, I hope that I convinced you, at least with the story and the writing, that The Loss is better. All right. Thank you, guys, listeners, for the participation and your vote. So, Kevin, what's the vote for the listeners?
So, okay, let me take a look here. The listener vote is 1-2 for ethics. Let's see here. 1.
Basically 2 for The Loss and everything else.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for ethics, and 2 for The Loss. So, that brings us to us. And the three of us. And Amy, why don't you tell the listeners what your vote would be for? Why don't you go first?
Absolutely. I think it was very clear in this discussion. I will be voting for The Loss. Again, at least in my world, as a teacher of math who has a master's in counseling and loves Star Trek, like my 3 favorite things are wrapped up in this episode.
Kevin, tell me when she's finished.
Wake up, Joe.
All right, I will stop there. Yes, my vote is for The Loss.
Okay.
Joe, what's your vote?
Do you know what? Worf gets grievously injured by a giant, albeit bouncy, barrel landing on his back. His spine gets pretty much severed. And then he wants to kill himself. Then he wants to go through rehabilitation. And then he wants to survive for his son. And then they decide to grow him a spine. And he dies. But then he's got lots of redundancies. And he lives.
Wake me up when you voted.
Yeah. So my vote is for The Loss.
You know what? Amy was swaying me during this whole conversation, and I was prepared to vote for The Loss as well. Ethics has a lot of flaws in it, specifically when it comes to the relationship between Worf and his family, and as much as I love a Crusher episode, and she gives a great performance here, I don't think it's as good as the performance Marina gives in The Loss. So, sorry, listeners, we're going against you again, but The Loss is moving on to the next round.
Do you know what? Like Amy, I see before we got into it in like the 2 hours that you spewed forth about The Loss, you totally swayed me. See, just it was the simplest thing. It was the idea that these two-dimensional entities reflected the way that Troi saw the crew now.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, they actually thought about that when they wrote it. So, that wins for that little tiny reason. The Loss wins hands down. Yeah,
and I don't think it's quite as bam over the head with its moral as ethics is. So, but having said that, The Loss will be going up against Unification in the next round.
Yeah, the Loss will lose. Wow.
Oh
Amy,
my gosh, you
how
guys!
surprised are you, Amy?
I am
how surprised?
Absolutely surprised. I did not see this coming a mile away. I mean, if we were, on YouTube or whatever, man, listeners, I shocked and like I'm speechless. I did not see this coming.
And yet she's still speaking.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So our next battle.
You know what? I wouldn't have voted. I think these votes are all about how we feel at a certain time and how the conversation goes. And I always vote with what speaks to me most. And because what Amy says, The Loss speaks to me most. So it's an honest reflection of how I feel about both of these episodes now.
I was sure that you were going to go the other way and I was going to break the tie in Amy's favor. That was how I thought that this vote was going to go.
I was sure I was going to vote for ethics coming into this discussion.
Wow.
I did too. Because
of the science and the fact they 3D printed a freaking spine for him.
Yeah.
So.
I know. The math is amazing.
We're going to have angry listeners.
Good.
It's unanimous. Oh.
Listeners, there are other podcasts for you to listen to. Goodbye.
You know our Troi bias on this show. So,
it is strong.
There is some Troi in the next Batleth battle as well, because we are going to be looking at Season 2, Episode 19's Manhunt, which is a Lwaxana Troi episode, and The First Duty, which is Season 5, Episode 19, which is one of Wesley's greatest episodes. Yes. So, that should be fun. Now, if you're angry at us for the results of this, we would love to hear your thoughts on today's show. And so please join the Federation Council Chambers on Facebook, where you are welcome to start conversations with us, yell and scream at us, put up angry emojis and memes. And you can also share any general Star Trek info that you want to share with the group.
If you'd like to send us an email, you can email us at galaxyclass@ufp.earth, and we would love to read your comments on the show. And yes, so please do that. You can also talk to us on Twitter at GalaxyClassPod.
Do it, don't do it, hit the subscribe button, like angrily tap that button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a star rating of 0 stars if you want, and a written review telling us how angry you are at us. That's totally fine. Do you know what? Because we are doing well in Japan.
Oh.
We are. Konnichiwa. We got to like number 14 in Apple TV and movie podcasts. On, what was that service we used for Earl Grey? Chartable, yeah. Number 14. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's obviously like we were the first one out that week. And so we were probably at number 1 for a minute. Yeah. I think we're at number 74 currently in Japan for Apple TV podcasts. So, If you do that on Apple Podcasts, you can help others to find the show, and you can follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching United Federation of Podcasts. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows, but you probably won't listen again because you're so angry. And we have other shows called All Good Things, Franchise Fatigue, Always Hold On to Arrow, History with the Szalagyis, Mickey's Marvels, Infinite Diversity, and Sasquatch. So Amy, where can people find you when you're not, I don't know, using Genotronics to 3D print yourself a boyfriend?
Oh.
Well, when I'm not doing that, man, can I just program exactly what I want? Because, you know,
it would
In
be
the
like,
24th century, you can.
Yeah,
like weird science.
Yeah. And can I just also say that the Orville did a fabulous episode of going into two-dimensional space?
Oh, they did.
So the loss has influenced Seth MacFarlane on the Orville as well.
Yeah, we're not
So
voting about
I think
Orville
that's important.
episodes today, Amy. Don't try and sway us.
Well, you know, because I do talk Orville over on Union Federation. See how
a segue.
That very, very smooth.
Segue. Yes. So I am over there, and new Orville comes out in March, you guys. So I'm very excited. I also co-host All Good Things with my good friend Mark here on this network. And I am on Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson. And of course, in the Federation Council Chambers.
Amy, hold on.
Now,
a week,
yes,
March,
Joe.
we're going to have, like, Star Trek and Orville, like, at the same time. Because we haven't mentioned this,
I know.
like, for 52 weeks in a row, we've had Star Trek on multiple times. We've got Star Trek, new Star Trek, up until June. It's a couple of weeks where we've got maybe,
Multiple
2 episodes
shows.
on a week for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
With Discovery and
Yes.
Picard.
Discovery and Picard, and then Picard is overlapping with Strange New Worlds.
Yeah. And
Yes.
Orville.
And the Orville.
Whoa.
I know.
I'm going to have to phone in sick
Great.
so I can watch all this stuff. Nice. Hope my bosses aren't listening.
Kevin, where can people find you when you are being two-dimensionally pulled towards a cosmic string?
I will be learning how to tie a cosmic string in a bow.
There you go.
It was so funny if Kevin just slid off to the side, like, away. Kevin, come back. We're not finished.
And if I do manage to tie a cosmic string in a bow, you can find me, or even if I don't, you can still find me on Stage Whispers, the local theater podcast. If you're interested in live theater in Central Ontario, which you should be, if you are me, and on True North Nerds, the general nerdity and geekery podcast that I do with a couple of local friends, and we've been going for like 5 years on that show, so there's lots of stuff to catch up on there if you're interested. So Joe, where can people find you when you throw a tantrum and storm out of your boss's office just like Troi stormed out of Picard's?
I've done that once before. It was years ago. I don't want to repeat it. I'm still shocked, though, that Kevin wants to tie a cosmic string in a bow, because that's probably going to produce some kind of singularity that's going to threaten to destroy the galaxy or the universe, as they say in Discovery.
It's just the way I roll.
Shocked. I say, listeners. Shocked.
Well, we know him as Santa in the red suit, but maybe he's the Red Angel in a red suit.
Kevin's the DM frickin' A.
Mm.
So I hope I said that. I hope I said that like a gangster. When I'm not doing whatever Kevin said I might be doing, you can find me. You can find me on the Federation Council Chambers. You can tweet me on the Twitter at JoyJo77UK, or you can email me joepodcasts@gmail.com.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, or not because you're still angry, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Patreon does not allow you to enter negative values, so we have to pay you to listen. Just saying. You can visit patreon.com/UFPearth. Thanks to our network associate producer, Davey Willett, for supporting us through Patreon.
We would like to recognize our executive producers. They are Brandon Shea Mutella, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore, and Tony Robinson. We'd also like to thank Zach Tripp for our opening and closing music, and Tony Robinson for our amazing artwork.
So thank you for beaming aboard the Galaxy class, and until next time.
I am delighted that Worf is going to recover. You gambled. He won. Not all of your patients are so lucky. You scare me, Doctor. You risk your patients' lives and justify it in the name of research. Genuine research takes time, sometimes a lifetime of painstaking, detailed work in order to get any results. Not for you. You take shortcuts. Right through living tissue. You put your research ahead of your patients' lives. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a violation of our most sacred trust. I'm sure your work will be hailed as a stunning breakthrough. Enjoy your laurels, Doctor. I'm not sure I could. I can't believe I said that in one take.
One take?
Woo!
One take, Joe.
Well written, well written.
Yes, very good, very good. How do you people live like this? Great joy and gratitude.
I thought Amy Nelson wasn't going to go do great joy and gratitude, and I was like, the universe is ending.
Well, I get so tired of people coming in here with their problems.
But just podcast together, Kevin. We do it every week.
I know. It's good.
Seriously?
It's good.
Oh, that was at your closing, and not just a rant about your hosts.
That was me channeling Guinan.
Engage.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.